Welcome back, guys, for episode 4 of the Arevalo podcast. And in this one, we have a special guest, Sahakyan.
Yes.
So great to have you here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for this time and this place. This is amazing. Love to be here.
Of course, yeah. It's great to connect at the Miami Mastermind.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Super cool, yeah. So for anyone who's not familiar with you, just give us a quick kind of background on kind of like who you are, what you do, and what you're about.
Sure. Well, I'm Anne. I'm from Armenia. I grew up in Argentina, so I have like a tricky background. and right now I'm here in Miami. I help coaches to grow their businesses. Like I have coaches to create their businesses and grow, like scale. So yeah, that's my main goal right now. I'm inspired and I love this job. I love like helping people. It's actually something that I just love doing, because in the past I had like 2 businesses. I had like e-com business and drop shipping, and it was something that, you know, like it was cool. Like you can make money, but not passionate, like not at all.
Right.
So right now I think I'm this perfect moment in my life. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't know that. So you have a background in e-com. Was that how you got started in the online space?
Yes, I was like an e-com brand, like jewelry brand, and then drop shipping worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were running ads for that. What platforms were you running ads for those?
Meta. Yeah, I was running. Yeah. Meta.
Very cool. Awesome.
It was.
So I'm curious, like on like, how did you even, like, take us back before you even got into the online stuff? Like, what was your journey to even start thinking about taking your talents online and kind of starting that process? Was that something you always kind of had a vision for, of like doing something online with like content and that type of thing? Or how did that kind of come to fruition?
Yeah, I think it's something that is just, it's the present, right? It's right now our life. Like we don't have any choice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because for example, I had like a store in that moment when I had my jewelry. I had a store, like actually, you know, like
brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and it was like, yeah, everything cool, but it's not working as it should be. So I was like, okay, we need to do something else, and we started like with ads. And then suddenly we have like a bunch of people entering to our store because of ads and because of Instagram, not because they saw the place and just entered. So we started like that. Okay,
so you saw how, okay, I have my in-person brick and mortar business, and so you started running, was that like targeted in like a local ads basically?
Yeah.
Is that like Miami area, or where were you with the jewelry?
No, this was in Argentina.
Oh, in Argentina.
Yeah, this was in Argentina.
Okay, so like what type of like jewelry do you guys do? Just like everything? Was there anything
did like
specific?
Gold and silver and like handmade stuff. It was cool.
Wow, it's really interesting. Very cool. So kind of going into the online space, kind of what was like that key moment where you realized that I got to really take the online side a lot more serious? Like what was that moment for you?
When I saw like the results, of course, because it was like huge difference. We were selling like in the website like 60% more tin in the place. So I was like, hell no. Why like the rent and everything, like it's not convenient. So we just closed the store and started selling online. And then we just did like ads for whole Argentina and then just worldwide, like US and Europe, everywhere.
Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. And like when it comes to making like your first dollar online, because you mentioned you help people start, you obviously help people scale, probably more so that as well. For people who are trying to make their first dollar online, like what would you say is like the most important advice, if you have to kind of sum it up into one piece of advice for them getting started to make their first dollar online, like what would you recommend for them?
Start creating. Like I think that's the first step, and people just I don't know, maybe fear of rejection, or of failure, but it's just starting. Like you need to start. And just start create content, not ads.
Right.
Because people they think that, oh, okay, I'm gonna launch my ad and I'll be rich.
Right.
No, you need to start create content, then like have that confidence. I don't know how to say, but yeah, confidence. So people just can see you and understand what are you doing, like what's your voice, your message, and then start creating ads. And then you will make money, your first dollar.
Totally. So it's kind of similar to kind of what I help people with, but I think I want to get clarity on that. So basically, the first step is essentially starting to create, make content, right? But then with that, what you're talking about, kind of get clear on your messaging and that type of thing, it's personal branding, right?
Sure.
So is that something you help your students with, of kind of getting clear on actually building a personal brand? Is that something you help people with?
Yeah, that's the first step. So we have like students that they want to create from scratch. So they need to create their personal brand and everything, like the messaging, offer, and that. And then we have we already have like the messaging and personal brand and everything. So yeah, but if they starting, they need a personal brand, like 100%.
Totally. Yeah, I see that with a lot of people I've helped too. Is like in their mind, because like give you some context, I help like racket sport coaches who are already good in person start online, and with the content side, it's like a lot of them, they want to get started making content, this and that. And I think it's probably similar. We probably do a similar thing with helping people get clear on their exact offer first, because once you have clarity on that offer and making sure you have the right offer, then you can kind of start building out, okay, now I can make the right content based around whatever components you kind of want to hit surrounding that offer. And I think a lot of times people are trying to make content without having clear messaging on an actual like good offer of what they're doing, right? So I've seen that kind of on my side of like getting clear first before we even start to build their content pillars. What are the limiting beliefs of everything? It's like first you got to get clear on what your exact offering is.
You don't know like their limiting beliefs if you don't know like the niche exactly in the messaging and the offer, of course. 100%. Yeah.
So how can people who are watching this, who are trying to get started, how can they start to get some clarity on what should my offer be, and how can I make my offer good instead of just being like an offer that everyone else has in my market, in my space?
So this is kind of like tricky, because I know that everyone just wants to be special and have something unique.
Right.
That's great. But I think if you are creating the content like like authentic, like unique, not copying, not being the other coach or creator or whatever, that's your kind of like difference. And the offer, so the most important thing in the offer is the transformation. So what is my transformation for my client? What he or she is gonna get working with me? And you need to be clear there in that result.
Right.
So if you're clear there, everything is easy to just understand, like the messaging, that part.
Totally. So getting clarity on what is the transformation that you're going to do for your students.
Of course.
And having a clear transformation for them. That's super helpful. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. So what's a belief about business that you held early on when you were kind of getting started that maybe you had to kind of completely unlearn to kind of get to that next level?
Oof, good question. So I think it was that you need to work hard and hard and hard and hard and do much, like calendar full of things to do, and it's not like that. You just need to do that 20% of the right work.
Right,
to
80-20,
get, the 80% of results. And right now I'm kind of like understanding that completely, because I start to say no to so many things, like person, and no, you want to do this? No.
Yes.
I need to do this because this is my 20% and this is what it is helpful for me right now. So just, I think that was my switch of mindset.
Interesting, yeah. And I think relating that to like racket sport coaches, it's like the first step for at least like for me and kind of what I help people with is like at the beginning, I think it is a good thing and it is positive to say yes to a lot of things when you're getting started, right? To get yourself in motion, to start taking actions, take ruthless action. But then it comes to a point and kind of like what my question was like to get to that next level is like, okay, now you've proven you're taking action, you're starting to get your motion, but now it's like, well, teaching 12 hours a day of tennis lessons, that's only going to get you so far, right? You're going to be capped out, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be burnt out. I faced that literally fucking personally. So I think that that's a really valuable lesson for people to take home, whatever niche they're in, is like, it's good first to say yes to a lot of things, get started, get that ball rolling, but then you got to raise your standards, you got to say no at a certain point, go through a season of no, like Alex Hormozi says. And yeah, I mean, that makes total sense to how to get to that next level, because like what racket sport coaches are realizing is like, well, maybe I don't want to be on court for 12 fucking hours a day when I'm 60, 70 years old. Like they probably don't want to do that. So the earlier you can kind of make that decision, that's when you can start being like, okay, well, now how do I start kind of figuring this out? How can I figure out the online side? Then talk about offer and all that other stuff. So that's super interesting there. I mean, with coaches who are like stuck under like 10K, I feel like that's kind of like a big milestone a lot of people try to get to, right? It's like, I want to get to 10K a month. Once I get to 10K a month, I'm set. I can travel, I can whatever, I can do my thing. I can be a nomad digitally, whatever. So like, what would you say is kind of like the real reason most coaches stay stuck under 10K?
Because of that, because they start traveling and they start doing things that they actually, like, you need to focus, you need to just be there doing more and better of everything to go to your 20, 30, 50. Like, of course, everyone has like their goals. It's not that everyone wants to grow a business. It's not easy, totally. Of course. But yeah, they got stuck because of that. Start traveling, spending, I don't know, doing things that just a big no in that moment.
Totally. And related to that, like, how has your vision shifted from like when you got started into it to like now? Like, what was your vision for yourself, your life, your business when you got started first?
In this business, like the coaching space?
Yeah.
Because I had like this switch of, but yeah, it was, honestly, it was just being able to do 10K working online and having like freedom of, work online. That was my goal. And right now I have like a vision, a huge, like I want a lot of things. And I see like results in my community and I'm like, yeah, I want more of this. Like more and more and more because it's kind of like satisfying, like, oh my god, they're like a guy who just were in debt doing nothing and now he's doing like 50K per month and his life is changed, like completely changed. And I'm like, this is actually like happiness and what I want to do. So that's my vision right now.
That's awesome. Yeah. Totally. And I think a lot of people in the online space can relate to that because, I mean, I know for me personally, it's like, okay, first goal, I'm young, like I want to make 10K a month. I want to buy certain things, whatever. That's great, but that can only take you so far, right? That can only take you so far, and it's difficult to have that, your selfish reasons for why you want to buy some nice clothes, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to do all this stuff. That's great. It's good to have that, have a little ego to help you kind of push, but I think what you just mentioned is shifting that vision from cool, like your first kind of personal goal is getting to 10K a month to that impact-driven goal, right? And it's something that, like, for me, that took me a little while because I was like, okay, my first goal was like, okay, I can get to 10K a month, I can get 20K a month, 30K a month, all that, sweet. But then it was like, you kind of, I don't know if you felt like this, but like I felt kind of lost at a certain point of like, fuck, I lost in the sauce of like, I did that. And then you kind of have to recast the vision because you accomplished the vision. And it's like, fuck, like it happens faster than you think. And you're like, well, what do I do now?
Sure.
I hit 30K a month. I got the car, I got the house, this and that. But it's like, that's just the surface, that's just the start.
Yeah.
So the sooner people can shift their kind of motivation and vision for themselves onto not only helping themselves, but more importantly, helping others, like you mentioned, that's when now your actions will start to be aligned with that new vision. So yeah, I mean, do you do like vision boards? Have you started implementing that?
Yeah, I do vision boards, like everything, meditation, visualization, like everything. So I'm kind of like into it 100%, because for me, like, mindset is 90% of everything, and 10% is strategies, ads, and systems, and everything that we do. And sometimes I think people they don't understand that. They start thinking that, oh my God, my ads, they're not working, or my system is not working, or I don't know, something else. And it's not like that. It's you are your enemy right there, your mind. Like,
it's not the ad,
not the
it's
ad,
your mindset.
Guys. It's your mindset. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I'm in that shift.
Totally, yeah. So when you sign up a client and you start to kind of like audit their business, like what kind of red flags do you kind of look for to kind of see like, okay, like how can we, like what are some like the first steps, right? When you kind of start working with somebody, what are kind of like the red flags you're kind of looking for like in their business that like you can potentially kind of help them solve?
First red flag is their message, honestly, because all my clients, no matter if he's scaling or just creating the business, they just don't know what are they doing actually with their message. They're just
like their brand messaging?
Brand
or what do you
messaging,
mean?
yeah,
Okay.
brand messaging. They're talking to everyone and trying to sell something and trying to impact or whatever. Like, no, you need to just niche down and understand like the transformation that we talk about. Like, they need to understand that. And the 99% of coaches and business owners, they just don't understand that, because they think that, oh, okay, I will create like an ad that the other coach did, and I will launch the ad, and that's it, and it's gonna work. Like, no, we are unique human beings, so it's not gonna work. We need to create something authentic and actually like for us and for our client and for our brand. So that's the big issue, because launching ads and doing all that systems, it's not so hard actually. That's the hard part, being actually authentic.
Totally. So how can people be more authentic with their content and with their ads? Because it's kind of easy to say like, yeah, like be yourself and do all that, but like what's something like tactical that people can try to like apply for themselves like when they're getting started? Because a lot of people, they have cold feet starting to make content and all of that. So like what's your advice for somebody to be more authentic in the way they come across in their content?
Well, there is kind of like how to explain. Like, you don't need to create something new. Like, you don't need to create like, oh, I'm gonna be like a new unique thing. No, of course. You need to like have your reference, like, okay, this coach or this mentor or this person is kind of like aligned with me, with my personality, with what I do. So I just need to be inspired, you know, like
Right.
not copying,
Right.
just inspired of
Totally.
what they do, and I create something by myself, but inspired on what they do. I don't know if it makes sense. But
Totally.
we're not copying, we're just like, you know, understanding what are they doing and understanding how can we like create something similar. And that's it.
Gotcha.
So we are not creating something new, we just, you know, being ourselves.
So getting inspiration, some
Yeah.
kind of inspiration, and then saying, okay, I'm inspired by this maybe guy, girl, whoever, and then saying, okay, great, but how can I make this my own? How can I make this my own, and how can I maybe take some of like the good components that I see, but making sure that, I mean, you're never gonna be a better version of somebody else than them,
No.
so that's a losing battle, right? So, okay, so basically kind of finding some inspiration with your mentors and then doing it your own way, kind of
Yes.
paving your own path.
I think we all have like something that is kind of like unique for us, our way of communicate things, create content, you know, some unique things. So you just add your sauce there, and that's it.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's like a client success story that like kind of gives you like some goosebumps still to this day?
Oh, yeah, I have one. So he's a doctor, and he was helping other doctors to pass this exam. I don't know exactly what kind of exam, but it was like kind of like a hard exam. And when he started, he was like, I don't know how to create content. I don't like to create content. I have a kind of like an issue being around people, surrounded. And I was like, who? Okay, so how are we gonna do this? And he was like, but I trust that I can do this. And I was like, okay, I'm good with that. Like, we can do that. So he just started from scratch, and in 2 months, he was doing like 45K per month, creating the best content in the world.
What?
Like, he's like a huge, I don't know, mentor in his space right now. And I was like, amazing. And that for me was like so inspiring. He's a huge guy. I love him. So yeah, that was my, that kind of testimonial.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So like what type of impact does he have like on his, so he's like a doctor, so does he help doctors, or does he help like he's the
students? Actually, he's helping students to pass this exam.
Okay.
In art, I think it was. And he's just letting, his offer was like, when he started, he was like, I'm selling this for $200. And I was like, what?
200
yeah,
bucks.
$200. Wow. And I was like, okay. So we started like 1,000, 3 months.
Yeah.
And then 2,000, and in a month, he was like 4K, the program. And that was a huge win also, because he never like understood that, oh my God, this is possible. This is actually possible.
Mindset shift.
Yeah, mindset.
Oh yeah.
100%. Yeah, but it was amazing.
Totally. No, that's insane. It's a crazy success story there. Yeah, and I think with most people, like that first, there's always one probably deal that once they close, it just shifts their mindset of like, oh shit, like I thought I could only charge like 200 bucks for this.
I remember that. I remember my 5K, my first 5K. I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening, and that was crazy. I think that was that momentum of, okay, the light in the tunnel.
Totally.
I loved it.
100%, yeah. So like, what's like a hard business lesson that like you had to learn the painful way, just kind of going through it?
I think that was when you start building teams and, growing, and that team part for me was hard. I started like hiring people that they were not aligned with my values and my vision, and it was like a back and forth for my business, because we were like, okay, 1 month like 60K, then 70K, and then 20K. It was like, and I think first of all, mindset, of course, because I started like understanding what I need to value on a setter or a closer or a team member. Like, they need to have my values first, understand like my work ethic, and then like if he is good setting, for example, like, So I think that was for me like the learning more, prioritizing my values.
That's very interesting. It's something that I'm probably a little earlier in that process than you are. Now you're probably a little further ahead for sure on the team side. I'm just starting to kind of build out the team more so now. So like, yeah, I mean, with that, like, what advice do you have for me in terms of like building out team and making sure to like kind of make sure that the values align with your values? Like, what's something that like I can apply to make sure, like, when, you know, interviewing people and interviewing setters and, you know, all that stuff, to make sure that, like, you know, you're kind of asking the right questions to make sure like they do align with you. And then, you know, obviously like the skill set and are they good at whatever role they're going to be doing, that obviously is super important as well. But I think looking really long term about things is like, yeah, I mean, even if they're great at whatever skill set, if they don't align with you and your vision, it's probably not going to be a good long-term fit. So you don't really want to optimize for those short-term relationships. So what advice would you have for me to kind of get kind of just hire kind of the right way and make sure that they're aligned vision-wise?
So first of all, that interview, it's a huge thing. Sometimes we just, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to interview the setter. We'll see if it fits, not what you can do. And I don't know, I'm setting like, I have experience in an agency or in an account like for a year, for example. No, like that's not what we want to know. We just need to know them actually, like, you know, like personally. How's your life? Like, what scares you? You know, what's your values? What you like to do? What's your family, your friends, and everything? And then, if you are aligned with that person personally, with their values, you just need to serve them. So something that we do, we start like, okay, you're a setter, go do your job. I'm not setting anymore. Cool. Right now, I'm having like 3 hours per day of training with my setters and my closers. So I'm not setting, but I have 3 hours training them because they need that, and they're always so like, thank you for your your time, you know, because you're kind of like helping us to do our job to be able to make more money.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, because we are a team. Because I'm helping you, because we are a team. So that's our job, like be able to serve them and not just treat them like, okay, you're a setter or like an employee. That's the huge mistake. And one red flag for me, like for the team, is when they ask you, for example, like, okay, what are you gonna pay me like for monthly? You know, like the fee? No, come on. That's a 9-to-5 mindset. So it's a huge red flag.
What do you mean?
Like, you know, like I want to work like 9-to-5, just like an admin work.
Right.
And
clock
that's
in,
it.
clock
Pay me,
out.
clock in, clock, and just pay me, and I will do whatever I can in that hour range. And that's not what we want. We want like killers, players. And if you want to build actually a good team, you just need to understand if that person is ambitious, had your values, and also like help them to become that version of themselves. I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah.
Totally, yeah. My takeaway from that is just being super hands-on and super involved.
Super.
Especially in kind of the onboarding process, probably first few weeks, months, etc., even ongoing, and just making sure that you're really kind of going above and beyond to serve your team, and kind of treating it like the dynamic, like, no, it's not like they're like below you, it's like, no, you're on the same level, and like, it's, first of all, like it's my business, right? It's your business. So like, we got to be the ones to really extract the best out of them and give them all of our knowledge base that they can help us and help their goals and make sure. So I'm kind of curious, like how do you make sure that like their vision is aligned with like your vision?
Because communication, like a good communication, honestly. We talk a lot. We have kind of like, we're like friends and also like working together and, you know, just talking. That's all. Like, what do you want for your life? For example, a question that I do in the interview is like, what's your goal? Like, long term, what's your goal? What do you want to make, like, in terms of money, and also like in terms of if you want to build your business in the future or not, if you want to just, I don't know, what do you want to do? And I'm okay with that. It's not that I'm like, oh no, you just need to be a setter or a closer and that's it. I'm like, no, you just tell me what you want to do and I'll help you with this business to get your goal. Because if our vision is too big, so they can enter their vision in our vision, that's it. It's a win. Because we are like going in a collective way, okay? And it's not that I'm like, okay, I'm growing my business and you're a setter, so if you want to grow your business, you just, I don't know, do whatever you want. No, I want like together.
Make it cohesive.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's awesome. It's very helpful. Yeah, because I'm still learning. I'm still in the trenches figuring all that out as well. So no, that's super helpful even for me personally. That's awesome. I really appreciate that.
Cool. Love that.
Yes, like what would you say are like the top 3 moves coaches should make to go from like 5K a month being kind of more of a beginner to scaling to like that 50K a month? What would be like the top 3 things?
Doing more and better of what they're doing actually. Because if they're doing like 5K, maybe if they're launching ads, so they need to do like scale ads. If they're not launching ads, they're doing just organically everything, so they need to start doing ads. That's the fastest way.
So start ads.
Start ads.
Okay.
Systems. And of course having good skills in sales. For example, setting and closing. That's like the fastest and the first thing to do if you want to go from 5K to 15K. Yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool. So when it comes to the coaching space, there's obviously a ton of coaches out there and everyone and their grandma wants to be a coach nowadays, right? So what's something for people out there looking for a mentor? How can people differentiate the real from the fake in this space of online craziness that we're in?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of that. Promises, I think. There are coaches just promising a bunch of promising, like marketing, huge marketing, saying and you know. And I think that's a big red flag when someone just, I'm gonna get you like 15 clients in 30 days, and you don't pay, or something like that. I don't know. For me, it's like, no way. I need to do the job to get my 15 clients per month, and you just need to give me the tools and help me with your feedback. So that's the mindset we want to have in these cases. But yeah, people just want something easy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So the red flag there would be for people looking for mentors, it's if they have some crazy guarantees where they're just guaranteeing you the world without having to do shit, that's a big red flag. And it's interesting. And I know before we were rolling, we were talking a little bit inside about, you were talking about, you know, you're working with Austin and with sales and certain stuff, whatever. Yeah. And I remember he was saying something about, like, it was funny about like talking about like guarantees. And he's like, dude, like I'm trying to remember when he said this, but he was like, dude, like, I can't guarantee shit. Like, I can't guarantee that I'm going to wake up tomorrow. Like, I can't guarantee anything. And it's like, because it's true. It's like, first of all, you don't know what the future has in store. And at the end of the day, you have to take full accountability. Sure. You know, do the work, do the right strategies, but at the same time, like, you have to take accountability for your success, your results, 100%. And take full ownership. Yeah. So yeah, no, that makes total sense.
They just don't want that risk, you know, like, okay, if I can just slow down on that risk and everything is going to be okay. But no, it's not like that. Like, if you want to build a business, actually, you need to have that mindset of risk. Like, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So just people need to understand that.
Totally, yeah. It's like, when I talk to people, it's like, well, just think it through, right? Okay, so you're saying, okay, you want some crazy guarantee or it's not worth it for you to get started. It's like, okay, well, let's think both sides. What's the alternative for you? The alternative is you don't get started and you can guarantee you have no fucking shot at potentially achieving your dreams. So I agree totally with what you're saying about it takes that risk taking. It takes that type of person who's willing to bet on themselves. And like, is that a trait you've seen with like your most successful clients, that like they're always willing to bet on themselves no matter what?
Yeah, sure. They're the first ones like paying full, no warranty, no asking, no, of course not. And they're just doing the job and no.
That's
100%.
That's awesome.
But it is helpful for them that, stepping out of their comfort zone. That is something that we need. It's like ads, exactly like ads, systems and everything. We need that to actually having that success. I don't know how to explain that, but people just don't understand that. They're trying to, oh my God, no, fear here, fear there. I just want to have a business, but I don't want a risk. That's not happening. It's impossible. And then after that, for example, you have your business, you're successful, amazing, and then your team is not performing well. What are you gonna do? You need to risk again. And you need to, I don't know, pay $15K to another coach to be able to sell more. That's risk, and risk all the time. So business is risk. If you are not willing to risk, just don't do business. Go work somewhere else.
Totally. I think in this ecosystem, this landscape that we're in with the online stuff, I mean, I know a lot of people, they kind of, when they're starting to see this world, they kind of might think it's all bullshit, right? So was there a time where you thought kind of the whole business model of the online stuff was BS? What was your kind of mentality kind of when you were in that space, and then how did you kind of get through that?
Well, for me,
what was your perception? First?
That BS part is if I want to build a business, for example, in the traditional world, in my case, when I start my business, my jewelry business, I put there $20K, knowing that I'm not gonna have that ROAS or ROI in 12 months.
Right.
And it's normal, because it's a normal thing, it's business. Right now, people, they're just oh, I'm spending $500 per month on ads, and where's going to be that ROI? And they want I don't know, $20,000 ROI there. And it's not happening. It's not like that. We need to understand that business needs time. It's like a flower. You just need to,
Gotta water it.
Water it.
You gotta pull out the weeds, plant the seeds, water it, keep watering it, keep taking care of the plant.
Keep taking care. Yeah.
Put in more water, up the ad spend, double the ad spend, triple the ad spend.
Yeah. That was, I think, that mindset, we just lost it a little bit in this online world. It's sad, but it's,
Totally, 100%. Yeah. What's something about your story that you think most people just don't know about you that you wanted to share?
Oh, let me see. So I think nothing special, but maybe that I came from a really traditional Armenian culture family. So in my family it was women, they're women, and that's it. Go cook.
Go cook, go clean.
They go clean and cook. And I think I was the one that did everything, not like that.
Right.
And for my dad, for my uncle, from that masculine part, it was oh my God, what are you doing? Just chill out. You need to get married and, have a...
Totally. Settle down, all that.
Settle down, yeah. So I think that is something that I'm not sharing too much in my social media, but it's something that actually affects me emotionally in my life, in my business, because I'm trying to be this masculine all the time because of that. And but yeah, I need to I think we need to have this balance of, in my case, right?
Totally.
Work life.
100%. Yeah, I'm curious, what gave you the confidence to kind of break free of that kind of traditional kind of, I guess, role in that culture, that maybe that box they were maybe trying to put you in? What gave you the confidence to say, fuck that, I'm breaking free, I'm doing my own thing?
Honestly, it was I was this from, I was 12. 12, selling lemonades in my, in front of my house, doing like $20 per day from that when I was 12. And I loved that. I love business. And for me, it was like a passion. And so when I started to seeing like how my family and my culture, they were like, okay, you're 16, you need to get married. And I was like, okay.
You're like, I'm trying to hustle.
I'm trying
to hustle. What are you talking about?
And I'm going to share something very intimate here. I got married at 17 and that moment because of my family, because it was something like arrangement. And I was like, holy shit, like, okay, I'm here doing this because my dad, he was like, you need to do this because it's the only way to you just, you know, like starting your life. You don't have any option to start your life, I don't know, studying or living alone or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I got married. I was like 4 years with him. It was not a good marriage, of course. And then I was like, okay, that's it, finished. I got divorced and start my life. So that was my very, you know, like cultural thing that, I don't know if it was good or bad. For me, it was an experience that was actually good because when I started my life, like in my 20s, I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. Like, oh, that's it. And I start like working and building my businesses, and yeah, that was cool.
That's awesome. I really appreciate you sharing that vulnerability. That's really cool. Yeah, I think that's also part of like the authenticity with content. It's like I think that type of stuff really gets people to really get to know you and know your story, and like that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome. So very cool.
Cool.
Totally.
That's. I think that there are like actually women in the same situation, like trying to get out from cultural and, you know, like possessive families and trying to build something for themselves. It's something that can happen. So it's good to share.
Is that part of your vision of what you want to do long term, of like helping women have a vehicle to maybe break free of some of those maybe societal kind of boundaries in their culture? Is that something that is kind of honestly, a little bit on your vision?
I have some, I'm not doing right now, but I have something there. Yeah, I think it's gonna happen in some moment. Yeah.
It's very cool.
It would be great.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, do you got any questions for me about anything?
Oh, you just, I would love to know, like, actually deeply how you do what you do right now in your offer, in your business. And because of course we know each other like from the mastermind and my languages. But I would love to know like more deeply, like what's the transformation, what's the, you know.
Totally, yeah. So the first offer that I ever had was my UTR Accelerator program, which was basically helping serious tournament players improve their UTR so that they can get on track to play in college and play tennis. So I played D1 tennis. So my first offering was creating kind of that dream program that I would have killed for when I was in high school, kind of falling in the cracks of like the traditional academy model, right? So my first step was building, hold up, getting a call. It's probably our reservation later, which is gonna be delicious. So I'm so pumped for that. But yeah, where was I? So yeah, my first kind of program that I had was all based around building the dream program for my past self, for when I was kind of like that high schooler who wanted more support from my coaches, but was getting left in the cracks, right?
Okay.
So that was my first goal. I was in person. I was coaching at the Rick Macy Academy nearby here, literally 5 minutes away, and I was fully booked out with everything. And basically, I just hit a wall where I was like, I was like 20 at the time, like 20, 21, 19, 20, 21 at the time. And it was like, okay, well, you know, I went from charging like $80 an hour to $160 an hour to like over $200 an hour in person, which is like tremendous. And if you're fully booked up with lessons, like that's an amazing income for any like 20-year-old. But I basically my first goal was to create that online program that could facilitate my dream lifestyle, but while also, more importantly, impacting like the youth in that regard. So that was my first program. Once I did that for over 2 years, it was like helping a ton of players. That was awesome. But then my vision shifted towards, well, now, and it's crazy because like I was a little lost in that process, and I was just like, I had a deep feeling of like, there's something more that I need to do. There's a bigger impact that I need to make. So it was like, cool, I did that, and I still do that. I still help my athletes. But then it was like, well, now my past self is actually that hungry individual kind of coming right out of college who wants to help their athletes, but wants to go online and wants to transition from being a really great in-person coach to being a coach online where you can impact not only people in your local town in Boca Raton, but well, what if I can help people in California? What if I could help people in New York, Chicago, Texas, Spain, Qatar, you know, wherever, right? So after helping, you know, players in like 5 different continents, that really inspired me to realize, it kind of clicked for me. I was like, yes, I'm a great coach, but there's a lot of other great coaches out there who can make an even bigger impact as well. So I had that kind of change for me where it was like, well, now I got to help others do what I did, because it was life-changing for me. It was literally life-changing for me. I could go from literally having to work for somebody else to being able to buy a house off the online stuff, all that stuff, which is great. And then now, so my offering now is helping racket sport coaches go online, so helping them establish their personal brand with their content, offer, marketing, sales, all that stuff, and yeah, helping them go online and scale. So kind of the first step is helping them build their personal branding foundations and content foundations. And then yeah, from there, kind of once they kind of build their content kind of infrastructure and kind of organic foundations, then helping them really make that full transition from you know, making, you know, 10, 15K a month in person to then leveraging that once their personal branding's to a certain point to going fully online, which is like kind of my North Star is I'm helping these coaches go fully online and be able to kind of fully do that.
And was there like limit, not limit, but you know, like the growth path, if you can say, like for example, what are they doing right now, and what's the vision, what's the goal, like to go, they're doing like 5K and they want to do like 20K, or what's normally like for a tennis court? Yeah,
totally. So it depends, right? So for say like some more established coaches, so like one thing is, with my situation of going from in-person to online, the first thing that I did before I even went online is I had to become a really, really good coach first to be able to help my athletes with the tennis stuff and all that. So there's kind of 2 types of people I help. Is like the kind of younger crowd who they're good coaches, but they're still kind of building their coaching resume. So it's more helping them with the personal branding and content infrastructure starting up, and actually having them even be able to leverage my branding for the coaching side, so it can expedite their kind of coaching resume per se when they're launching their offering. But then there's also coaches who are, you know, significantly older than me, have been coaching for way longer than me, and have, you know, been in the trenches for 20, 30, 40 years, having great kind of organic foundations just with in-person. And then for those clientele, it's more about, okay, they're already making a good amount online, they're already doing 15, 20K a month in person. You know, they have a wife, kids, all that type of stuff, like they're already, you know, whatever. And for them, it's more about, they can kind of come out the gate going more so with like ads and kind of scaling a lot quicker. So it's kind of like, those are kind of the 2 kind of ICPs per se there. That's if that makes sense.
I love that. I love that. What would be like the most that mindset shift in your clients, for example, when they start to work with you? Like what's the big shift, mindset shift?
Yeah, so a lot of times coaches don't fully understand how impactful the online programs actually are for their athletes. So usually they have to kind of conceptually understand, and what I like to relate to them is like, think about, everyone had their own mentors, right? Whether it was their own tennis coaches or whatever, maybe teachers that they had, whatever, everyone had their mentors. So what I like to talk to them about is like, well, think about whatever, if you had to fix like your own forehand, or you had to fix something in your game, I'm talking about coaches here, think about when you were younger and you had whatever your dream coach was at that time, right? Your mentor, the top mentor, the person you would go to fix your stuff. They can help you a lot for just your lessons, but think about what type of impact they could have on your game if the 5 or 6 other days where you don't have that 1 hour lesson with them, if you could ask them questions around the clock, if they could be programming for you daily action items for you to do every single day, so you're not spinning your tires on working on the same things in your lessons in your 1 to 2 hours a week with your students. So what I like to, the mindset shift is realizing the online side is just the vehicle of you being able to transfer your great coaching knowledge onto your students. And the analogy, one analogy that I like to refer to is like, it's kind of like if you're just gonna like write a handwritten letter and send it via like a bird to China, versus like me writing an email and sending it. I'm gonna do the same delivery of what's getting done, but one can happen a lot faster. One can be done in a faster feedback loop method where we can send, think about how many emails we can send back and forth if we're across the world, versus having to do something kind of a lot more, what's the word? I guess it would be like almost like prehistoric, like too old, right? So it's kind of like realizing there's a new method of how to serve your clients to the highest level, you know? And when I was getting started with this, I was doing basically a lot of the stuff I do for my students for free for my in-person clients. So let's say, you know, someone's doing a few lessons with me in person. It was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have them record their match play footage. I'm going to create, after I watch their match play, I'm gonna, like how I started, I would literally write up these long essays and send it to their parents like, okay, here's all the things I saw strategically, they gotta fix this, technically we gotta work on this, and here's our plan for next week.
Nice.
For every single day of what we're gonna do. And then at the beginning, it's kind of just like, you're just kind of scrambling and just giving them complete breakdowns of everything, and then that kind of eventually shifted into kind of a more systematized approach of how to serve your clients. But I think the mindset shift is understanding the online vehicle is how you can serve your clients to a higher degree. So by you not offering an online program, I don't care about the money you're gonna make, but I care about, think about all the athletes that could be in different countries, in different states, that you could be impacting, that because you're afraid of going online, they will never make those transformations. And maybe that type of person would rather work with you than me as a tennis coach, or this person as a tennis coach, right? People get attracted to different people. So you have to kind of put your ego at the door and say, look, if I want to make the biggest impact possible, this is the price I gotta pay. I gotta make content. I gotta do it. I gotta make content, right? I would have never thought that I would do all this content and stuff, but it's the price that I knew I had to pay to make the impact that I wanted to make.
I love that, 100%.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
So how you see yourself in 5 years, for example, like regarding your business, your team, your everything?
Totally, yeah. So 5 years from now, I see me having the best community of racket sport coaches in the whole fucking world. And I want to help as many racket sport coaches as possible be able to live their dream lifestyle and be able to impact more athletes in that way. So where I see myself is scaling my business to the next level, building my personal brand to the next level, taking everything to the next level there. And yeah, I want to, you know, I see my podcast growing. I got a lot of stuff I really want to do. I got a lot of goals, big vision for myself, but it really stems from just the North Star is how can I impact the tennis world and the racket sport world in the best way, the biggest way possible, and just kind of transcend the sport in a way as well, kind of making it kind of just bigger than tennis itself. And yeah, so that's kind of my vision, is just impacting as many lives as possible in the racket sport world, and who knows where it goes from there, but that's kind of like the first kind of stepping stone in my mind.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, I loved our conversation today so far, and I really appreciate you coming out. And yeah, any final thoughts, anything that you wanted to share with the audience? And where can they find you? Where can they find you if they want to keep up with your content?
I'm on Instagram, of course, YouTube, but my content is in Spanish. So if you know Spanish, it's gonna be
There's some Spanish speakers who watch.
Like, okay, that's cool though. Yeah, I'm on Instagram and YouTube, and I love this. I love this. Like, I want to create more this kind of content. For me, this is a better way to communicate and be authentic.
Yeah.
We were talking about that. So thanks for this space, this time. I love this, and this is great.
I appreciate it. Had a lot of fun. Thanks. All right, guys, we'll see you guys in the next one. If you got any value out of this, like, comment, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.